This is the moment that Momo Ayase's heart broke. But what does it all mean? It started with a name. The name of a boy that she took a chance to see, that she took a chance to save. A boy that had spent his whole life unseen, unwanted, and uncared for. She watched him get bullied, and Momo stepped up and stepped in between him and the bullies. It was brave and daring, and she was unafraid. And this is part of Momo. She is brave and she is unafraid. Unafraid to take a stand and help somebody who needs it, like her idolized Ken Takakura would do himself. Because there are people who need help, and if there's no man out there that will stand up for them, then she'll do it herself. In doing this, she inspired him, this faceless nobody who would become the centerpiece of her world. Her destiny, someone that up until now had just faded into the background of other people's stories. As she left, he followed, and then they came together. In a sense. In each other they opened up their true selves and dropped the masks that they wear each and every day in the real world. They learned to be themselves and learned what lays in the hearts of the other. In this small, private bubble, outside of the greater social order that forced them to minimize themselves and to become simple roles of people in the world. Thrust into chaos by aliens and ghosts, this boy and this girl fought together, fought for each other, and came out victorious. Momokarun unveiled his soul, the depths that he was willing to sacrifice to protect the one girl who ever saw him as more than just nobody. Momo Ayase. And as he looked into her, she gazed back into him. Seeing his spirit, she unleashed hers and shone like a goddess. Finally unshackled by the limits that she put on herself, and unafraid. Or is she? Momo Ayase seems so fearless, so unabashedly unfazed by those in the world, but that's just how she presents herself. Because inside, Momo is terrified. Terrified that her ideal Ken Takakura doesn't exist. Terrified of revealing her true self. And terrified of feeling something real. And we see that here. Momo tells Momokarun that they're both in this fight together, and he utters a line as he hands her his clothes. I'm an awkward fellow. Unmistakable. A line once spoken by her beloved Ken, now falling from the lips of this boy. Conflict creeps in, and Momo's heart skips a beat. She tries to rationalize her feelings. It lacked that flagrant masculinity of an action hero. But as Dandadan shows us, looks can be deceiving. He stood up for Momo, put it all on the line, and he wanted to do anything he can to save her. He spoke with passion and power, the potential, the pure possibility that this could be the start of something real is so scary to her. And we see this in the way that Momo moves. Back in the alien hotspot, when she first saw the Serpo aliens, Momo froze in place. Her foot took a hesitant step back, petrified by the realization that these aliens stand in front of her, and just like then is just like now. Hearing these words and feeling her heart pound and thump in recognition of how they speak to her soul is enough to conjure a fear as raw and as potent as seeing literal aliens. Because this feeling, the sight of the man that she was convinced could not be real, standing in front of her now, is as unknown and otherworldly as the Serpos were back then. So her actions are the same. She freezes and slowly, gently nudges her feet away. A desire to run? Perhaps. Why not? Who wouldn't want to run from the inevitable? However, the part of her that desperately pulls away is so small compared to the gravity of him. She draws herself back in and calls back to reality, talking herself down and wrestling back control. And she asks him his name, Ken Takakura. The spaceship explodes behind her, sending shockwaves. The glass shatters and she sees the truth. She's staring at destiny. Her heart refuses to let her lie to herself anymore. And this is the moment that Momo Ayase's past, present, and future collided in a rapturous explosion of the heart. A future that would hold everything. Friendship. Romance. Heartbreak. Because Momo and Okurun have just fallen together. They fought Turbo Granny to get back his gear, and grew closer as they went, demonstrating their devotion as it grew. Momo opened up Okurun's eyes to the potential that they could be friends, and he reciprocated that with trust. A trust that helped them work together as one entity and overcome incredible foes. More than the sum of their parts, and in the end, they defied the end, rejected goodbye in favor of a shared tomorrow. Because it wasn't just circumstance. Their shared situation that bound them, it was something more than that. What this is, who knows? As they dug deeper, these feelings conflicted against the world, and that scared her and she rejected them. But they came back together once more and stronger. He discovered his love for her, and she found her love for him. Their bond so tightly woven, a bond that overcame everything, jealousy, self-consciousness, and ultimately grew into an unimaginable strength. He gave everything to protect her, and she almost surrendered her life to save him. And at the end of sacrificing anything, they found everything. And everything that Momo pursued. A something that Momo nudged toward. But still never going so far as to label this who knows what into something tangible. That real thing that Momo is so scared of. Always existing in the space between space. Living on the tip of the tongue. The words left unspoken, forever lingering in this see you tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? What if there's only today? And as Momo watches, she sees her tomorrow slip away as the boy that she loves is ensnared by another, and we see Momo's heart break. It literally bursts in front of us as she squeezes it. Watching Vamola kiss Okurun shares the same sensation that she felt upon hearing his name for that first time. A heartache that overwhelms the senses and invokes the most primal, otherworldly fear. The glass shatters once more as it did back then, but this time she realizes something else. Not that she might have found him, but that she might lose him. Because she wasn't enough. And Sai and Saru demonstrate this so beautifully in this scene. Not only do they use that final shot of episode 1 in parallel to the ending of season 2, effectively dragging us back to that feeling that exploded within Momo, but they also provide us with a wonderful shot of the kiss from Momo's perspective. As she opens the door and sees them, the lighting tells the story of her heart in that moment. It pauses. Her heart skips a beat as we see it. The morning sun angled and glaring across the scene, casting a beautifully tragic message. Okurun shrouded in light. To Momo, he has become such brightness in her existence. The person who dragged her out of this stupor, out and away of the notion that there is nothing and no one good left in this rotten world. She brought colour into his world, but how could she imagine that standing up for him might bring such light into hers as well? And that's how love starts, you know? But here we are, seeing this alien girl, Vamola, and she casts the deepest of shadows across the shot. The bleak blackness of her shadow and how it absorbs all of that light. The space that would have naturally been occupied by Okurun's shadow is now blended and blurred with hers, entwined and combined as one. Because they're a single entity in this scene, bound at the lips. And there is a darkness that follows Vamola, in an omen of things to come, but also an emotional, romantic threat. Telling Momo that she's here, and ready to steal away this beacon of light. Telling Momo that she might lose the person that she loves, and this breaks her heart. But that's the great irony of this scene. The fear in this moment, and all that uncertainty that comes in its aftermath. The potential to lose him to this girl is partially due to the fact that Momo couldn't bring herself to make her feelings clear to him in the first place. The Cursed House arc and the Evil Eye arc were centerpieces to Dandadan Season 2, and these were such special moments for the two of them. We saw Okurun overcome his doubts and choose to stand up and fight for Momo. He does this physically in literally beating the eye, the one that aims to hurt her. He pushes himself past his own abilities and forces himself to be more, to be greater in service of his love. But similarly, Okurun pushes himself emotionally. He doesn't surrender to the presence of Gigi or to what he represents. Just like when he chose to get up and follow Momo, he has this split-second decision to not be who he has always been, to choose to be someone new. This is what he did when he saw Taru. He chose love, even if it fails. Because who cares? At least he tried. And she's worth losing for. And Momo responds to this. She sees him, is ready to die for him, and they cross barriers. Hugging, holding hands, and fostering this love. But they never just call it what it is. Momo initiates these acts, yet shrouds it in this pretense. She hides her face when she cries into his chest, a refusal to show how important he is to her in this moment. She plays coy as she drifts her hand over his, living in the plausible deniability that this is some sort of game. And when they walk home together, she uses this excuse, that it's cold out. It's cute. It's heartwarming. That's obvious. But each of these acts has been to goad Okurun into speaking first. She's unable to conjure the words to call her actions what they are, an expression of love, away from everyone else. And this is where Momo and Okurun have always flourished. In private places, hidden spaces that exist for them and nobody else, away from the world, in a perfect bubble. Just like the tunnel or the walk home, but this can't last. Because we don't live in a vacuum. And she said it herself, Okurun is cool now. The Kaiju Arc, the final act of Season 2, is the antithesis to the two previous arcs. Where they showed us Okurun and Momo pulled together, this arc sets up the potential for them to be pulled apart. From the start, a wedge is placed between them in the form of Rin. He's someone worth seeing now. He's recognized as cool and now people want to get to know him, which threatens to push Momo out. I mean, Rin literally is trying to get her to stay out of the classroom, which would limit their ability to talk. It feels like it's telling us that time is slowly running out for her to say what she needs to say, because this bubble won't work anymore and they can't pretend that it's just the two of them. And so when Momo tells Okurun he's cool, she says it in this somber way. In part, it's a way to continue this conversation that they had in the nurse's office, but also because she knows that she can't have him to herself anymore. And this culminates in the kiss. Jealousy is important in Dandadan. It's in jealousy that our characters can find the strength to overcome their insecurities and fears and to fight. Through Ida, Momo is able to overcome her hard-headedness and hear out Okurun. She stormed out initially, but is able to bring herself to accept that she does care enough to give him the chance to explain, and accepts his apology. Through jealousy, Okurun is able to accept himself and his feelings and choose to win Momo's heart no matter what. And just like then, this jealousy brings something new to the plot. Because look at this girl. She's a beautiful alien from beyond the stars. She immediately sees Okurun and just Okurun. This is his perfect girl. She's practically made for the Okurun that we knew. I mean, she's an alien. And the tension we're going to see in Season 3 is immense. By not making her feelings clear and putting a label on whatever this is, Momo and Okurun are at sea still, and the waves that crash against them threaten to send one of them adrift and away. So yes, this is the moment that broke Momo Ayase's heart. But in that heartbreak is an opportunity, a challenge, one to overcome. Because this may have been Okurun's perfect girl, once upon a time. But this isn't the same Okurun as back then. Since the first moment that Momo's heart skipped a beat, the threads between them have conjoined and braided into the strongest of tethers. A tether that ties them as one, impossible to unweave. Momo is his heart. Okurun is hers, and all that remains is the courage to say it.